Oh my Lord, can we look just at the camera, please? Taylor,
crazy.
Taylor, that is insanity.
That's crazy.
Well, he put a lot of work into that one. Huh?
He did. He did, and he had it for a really long time before he gave it to me too.
Taylor Swift continued her The Life of a Showgirl press tour with a stop at The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon, where she shared more details about Travis Kelce's surprise proposal and the custom old mine-cut diamond engagement ring he designed for her, a ring that glittered even under the studio lights. Travis Kelce, who had a game that night in Jacksonville, Florida, couldn't be in Manhattan, but Taylor mentioned how she had him on her mind, telling Fallon, "It's game day. My head is very much there." When Fallon asked directly about her ring, Taylor instantly held out her hand, letting everyone see the stone catch the light, and she smiled as the audience reacted. She said Travis had put a lot of work into it, repeating, "He did. He did," emphasizing just how much effort he had invested, and added that he had kept the ring for a long time before finally giving it to her. She explained that Travis had worked with this amazing jeweler, Kindred Lubeck of Artifacts Fine Jewelry, to have the ring custom-made, and every detail had been carefully planned.
No, I know. I look at it constantly. Like, it doesn't feel...
Taylor admitted, "I look at it constantly. It doesn't feel in any way normal for me. I'm just like, oh man, whoa!" For her, the ring was about more than just the diamond or the design. It was about Travis, whom she called her favorite person she'd ever met. No offense to everyone else. It was the idea that she got to spend every day with him forever, and that this ring was a tangible symbol of that made her voice tremble with happiness as she described it. She then began to tell Fallon how the proposal happened, giving him, and the millions watching, the backstory. After recording an episode of her New Heights podcast, Taylor said Travis had orchestrated a stunning surprise in their own backyard. He had transformed it into a secret garden, complete with blackout drapes on every window of the house, so she wouldn't peek and ruin the surprise. Taylor explained, "So basically, I think for Travis, the podcast was just sort of a distraction, sort of a ruse, to keep me not looking out the windows." She laughed as she remembered how, unlike any other podcast day, every single window was covered. Travis had been top secret about the whole thing, and in hindsight, she really appreciated the lengths he went to so the moment would be perfect. During the podcast, Taylor noticed Travis acting nervous, pacing, his heart racing, which was unlike him since he's usually so calm. He kept saying, "My heart is racing. I know how much this means to you. I really want this to be what you hoped it would be." Talking about the podcast, the album announcement, and everything else. But the nerves were about much more than that. When they finished recording, Travis suggested, "Do you want to go and just walk around the backyard and have a glass of wine?" Taylor, thinking nothing of it, agreed, and she said, "I'm always going to want to do that." It was only then, as she walked into the backyard, that she understood why all the windows had been curtained and why Travis was so nervous. The backyard had been turned into a magical scene, a garden with lights and flowers, and it was there that Travis got down on one knee and proposed. Taylor described it as the best possible case scenario, everything she could have dreamed of, and she could barely believe it was real. The audience cheered when she shared this, and Jimmy Fallon looked stunned, even reaching out to get a closer look at the ring, while Taylor's happiness was unmistakable as she remembered the moment. She spoke about how thoughtful Travis had been, how he'd planned every detail, and how that made the experience unforgettable. Taylor said she couldn't stop glancing at her ring, not because of its size or sparkle, but because it was a reminder of that day and the promise it represented. She also talked about how Travis had been careful to keep things private, making sure the moment was just for them, and how much she cherished having something that was entirely theirs, away from the cameras and attention. Taylor went on to say that even after all the excitement, she kept replaying the proposal in her mind, grateful for the effort Travis had put in, and for the simple joy of saying yes to the person she wanted to be with forever. She shared stories from other interviews she'd done that week, describing her relationship with Travis Kelce, who she called supportive and one of a kind. On Kelsey's birthday, during an interview with SiriusXM's Morning Mashup, Taylor was asked about the moment she fell in love with him. She admitted it was hard to pinpoint exactly when, saying, "It's so hard to just pinpoint that, especially because we're on the radio and I'm getting shy all of a sudden." But she said everything had worked out perfectly, and that Kelsey was one of those people where as soon as you meet him, you know he's the best. And you know there's no one else on the planet that's ever been even remotely similar to him. He's one of one. She told the hosts she hoped they'd get to meet him someday because they'd absolutely love him. Taylor then spoke to Scott Mills on BBC Radio 2, where she talked about how Kelsey supports her music career and always encourages her. She said, "I love the person that I am with because he loves what I do, and he loves how much I am fulfilled by making art and making music." She described how Travis is passionate about his own pursuits and that this passion for their respective crafts connects them. She explained that Travis would never ask her to stop making music or resent her dedication to her career because he knew from the start that music was part of her life. Taylor said, "There's no point in time where he's going to be like, 'I'm really upset that you're still making music. The music thing that I signed up for, that I knew you loved, I thought you were going to stop doing that.'" She was grateful that Travis understood her, that he wanted her to keep pursuing what made her happy, and that they both respected each other's dreams. When asked about wedding plans, Taylor laughed and said planning wasn't her main priority at the moment, telling Mills, "I'm doing one thing at a time. Right now I'm doing this. I don't know if I'm hiring a wedding planner. Right now I'm just stoked about the idea that I get to marry this person. So I'm going to think about that. And then I'm going to put out this album. And then I'm going to think about other things after that." Taylor emphasized that her focus was on enjoying being engaged, making music and letting everything else fall into place. She described how she wanted to savor every moment, not rush through the engagement or the wedding, and let her excitement for these milestones build naturally. The story of the proposal and the ring continued to come up in her conversations, with Taylor often returning to how much it meant to her to have someone like Travis, who understood her world and supported her ambitions. She said she appreciated the way he made her feel safe and cherished, even as their lives grew busier and more public. Taylor talked about how the engagement had brought them even closer, letting them share something private and meaningful, while the world watched and celebrated with them. She mentioned that even though they both had busy schedules, they made time for each other, finding small ways to show love and care, whether it was a quiet dinner at home, a walk in the park, or a spontaneous trip. Taylor said those simple moments were the foundation of their relationship, and that the proposal was just one extraordinary example of how Travis made her feel special. She described how they laughed together, supported each other, and dreamed about the future, and how the ring, for all its beauty, was just a symbol of something much deeper. She told Fallon about how she and Travis had talked about marriage before, but the actual proposal still managed to surprise her, and that was part of its magic. She shared how Travis had checked with her friends and family, making sure the timing was right, and how he'd even asked her parents for their blessing, all without her knowing. Taylor said she admired how thoughtful and respectful Travis was, always taking the time to include the people she loved. She described how, after the proposal, they spent the evening together, calling family and friends to share the news, and how happy everyone was for them. Taylor said the next day felt surreal, waking up with the ring on her finger and realizing her life had changed forever. She talked about how the engagement gave her a new sense of excitement and hope, and that she couldn't wait to see what the future held for them. She said she and Travis had started talking about wedding ideas, but that they were in no rush, wanting to enjoy being engaged and take things slow. Taylor shared that they both wanted a celebration that felt true to who they were, something intimate and joyful, surrounded by people they loved.